the Giants.
Awesome.
And it was Michael Conforto was his grand slam. Oh my God, Michael Conforto is coming back. He's coming back to form, like Mets form.
Eddie, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. Have a good night. Try to hang in there with the family members in the car ride leaving Dodger Stadium. How many games is Eddie going to? I like that. Eddie making it happen this first week of the season. Excited to see some Giants baseball down in Southern California. And, Conforto has looked pretty good. He was so bad last year that he opted in to stay with the Giants. And I know a lot of Giants fans weren't happy about Conforto opting in. But, he looks like somebody that's, you put him down in the lineup a little bit because the lineup is a little bit deeper. And he's somebody that can hit the ball hard and can, come up with a little bit of pop here and there. And, he had the knockout blow in the game on Saturday, and the Giants needed every one of those runs as they hung on to win that game late. And so, I don't think it's all bad, even though the Giants sit at 2-3 here with, 157 games to go, and they take one on the chin tonight to the Dodgers. 8-3 the final down at Dodger Stadium. All right, 808 KNBR, the number 415-808-5627. Let's keep it going with Connor in Dublin next here on the Sports Leader. Hey, Connor.
Hey, JD. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well, my man. Doing very well. What's on your mind?
So much. Only have so much time to say it, but I'll try and keep it concise and to the point. Let me just tell you, Michael Conforto, man, that guy is bringing some electricity to this lineup, man. Like I think he's almost hit a home run in almost every one of his games now, and I think that's very impressive. And I'm glad to see that he's making a comeback, as the previous caller said. And Jung Hoo Lee, grandson of the wind, impressive, very impressive. He's gotten a hit in every one of his games now, and let me tell you, this guy, he's going to go very far. He's going to go really far, and he's going to mean a lot to this Giants team. And I think he's well worth the what was it, $113 million for 6 years. Well worth it.
Yeah.
And
so far so good as far as Jung Hoo Lee goes. And you look at Conforto. Conforto's gone deep 3 times in the first 5 games. He's hitting .368. He's got the OPS at 1,300. Like it's looking good for Conforto. It's going to make Bob Melvin start to think maybe you got to move Conforto up a little bit in the lineup, as much as I think he thrives in a deeper lineup where he can hit maybe 6th or 7th. I think that's where he can make the most of an impact. So thanks, Connor. Appreciate it. 808 KNBR is the number, as it is Sports Phone KNBR here on a Monday night post Giants game edition, as the Giants lose to the Dodgers 8-3. Thought Keaton Win pitched pretty well. The 6 strikeouts in 5 innings. The top of the Dodgers lineup with some couple of big hits. Ohtani had the double, the triple right off the bat there from Mookie Betts, and then some pretty good situational hitting for the Dodgers stars against Keaton Win in the early part of the game. You had the RBI ground out from Ohtani in the first inning. And then you go to that 3rd inning where the Dodgers scored a couple. You had Freddie Freeman, a base hit, which scored Betts, who got on with a walk. And then you had the Ohtani double at that point. And then Freeman with the single that scores Betts. And then that set up the Will Smith sacrifice fly. So the Dodgers are up 3-0, and 2 of the 3 runs are coming on an RBI ground out from Shohei Ohtani and a sacrifice fly from the $140 million man in Will Smith. So the big takeaway about the Dodgers, as loaded as they are, and as much as they're going to beat you with power, and as much as they're going to beat you with superstardom, their big bats did the little things tonight. And then the other big takeaway from the Dodgers is you got to worry about their other guys too, which is why they're so dangerous. I mean, Muncy, Teoscar Hernandez, I thought was a real nice pickup, somebody that's been a pretty clutch player during his time in the majors. And, Chris Taylor, and they got Lux hitting 9th, and Kike Hernandez is back, and Miguel Rojas, and Austin Barnes is backing up. They got Jason Hayward on this team. They got veterans and youth and depth in terms of the hitting. So it's not just the top three, although the top three, I think at this point is historically great, at least has the potential to be historically great. All right, back to the phones we go. 808 KNBR, Tenderloin Dad in San Francisco next here on the Sports Leader.
Hey, JD, great to hear you on the Sports Leader. After, 5 games, I'm not too concerned with the Giants. Jung Hoo Lee, as the leadoff position, has shown so much promise. His at-bats are so productive. And even on defense, he's super productive in center field. The only issue is that they need to fix the bullpen. And then once they get Blake Snell and get that rotation set, I think they can be a real threat. The Dodgers, they're going to be great. Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts, that's top 4 lineup is a murderer's row. What do we expect? But I think the Giants are going to be competitive this year, and I have a lot of hope for them, and I'm rooting hard for them. Good to hear you, JD, and have a great night.
Yeah, thanks, Tenderloin. Appreciate you, Tenderloin Dad, checking in the city. Look, we all are, I think, are so excited for the beginning of baseball season that at times, we put a little bit too much on the first week. And, there have been some good things. There have been some bad things. Obviously, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, when you play the Dodgers, the Dodgers are going to make a lot of teams look bad this year in full series, in individual games. And I know a lot of Giants fans don't want to hear it because you always want to see how things play out. But the reality is the Dodgers are probably winning the NL West. I know I'm not exactly going out on a limb there, but that doesn't mean that the Giants over the long haul can't be competitive. That doesn't mean the Giants can't be the second best team in the division. Again, I know that just the sound of that is, like nails on a chalkboard to a lot of Giants fans accepting a second-place finish at this particular point in time, 5 games in. And look, you let it play out. You don't accept it. You go out there and you try and battle. And even this series with the Giants dropping the first one is not over with Logan Webb going tomorrow and then Kyle Harrison against Glasnow on Wednesday in the series finale. And, you play it out. And they're going to play 12 more times head-to-head this season, and you figure out where you stack up over the long haul of the 162-game grind. But I think, again, when you look at this team, they were – this isn't the starters have pitched pretty well to this point, other than Dalton Jeffries, who, nice story, but not a major leaguer. And, but the Giants needed to have somebody based on the way they had everything stacked up with Keaton Win's days to pitch lined up for tonight, and with Blake Snell getting himself lined up to pitch over the weekend, Friday, and then Wednesday in this simulated game. And there was going to be at least a couple of tune-up type outings or bullpen sessions / simulated games before Snell was going to be available. So I think that all ends up lining up for a week from tonight. Bob Melvin told reporters down in Dodger Stadium earlier this afternoon, the Giants making that official, that Snell's going to start a week from tonight at home against Washington. That's going to be a lot of fun. And, let's see how this – I think the Giants got bit a little bit by the fact that their rotation isn't at the beginning what their rotation is going to be. And you give credit to Keaton Win, who's, going to be penciled in here, I think, still as, somebody that the Giants are going to need. He could be a nice little swing guy, I think, for the Giants. He's somebody that could be, I think, help in terms of rotation depth. He can be somebody that could be a 5th starter until Cobb comes back. I think you got to like a lot of what you see to this point for Keaton Win. And the Dodgers did not overwhelm him in this game tonight, which I think is impressive. But the one thing though that definitely stands out as far as these first 5 games, the Giants are going to have to fix the pen, because they got a lot of youth, a lot of guys making their debut in the pen, and really nobody has looked great to this point. Duvall didn't look great when he came in and had the pitch clock violations, and Tyler Rogers has given up a couple of homers, and the rest of the guys are younger and inexperienced. Luke Jackson, before he got hurt in his season debut on opening day down in San Diego, he didn't have it. And so the Giants are going to have to figure out the bullpen because, I thought the bullpen had the potential to be a strength for this team, but it is not right now. And, we've seen it kind of hurt them a little bit to this point in the season. So 808 KNBR, the phone number. It is John Dickinson here, Sports Phone KNBR, following the Giants' 8-3 loss to the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. Game 2 of that 3-game series coming up tomorrow. 2 more to go. Logan Webb on the mound there. Let's get back to the phones and the people that want to talk here tonight on Sports Phone with Roy in San Leandro next year on the Sports Leader. Hey, Roy.
Hey, John. Thanks for taking my call. How you doing?
I'm doing very well tonight, Roy. Thanks for chiming in.
Good. I just wanted to mention that I hope the Giants are preparing well for the collegiate draft because, I seen they mentioned, and it's funny that they mentioned this, that on that MLB station, I just happened to be looking at it, and they talked about how the Giants go out and just get all these pitchers, but they don't really go out and get good position players. And they said the last outfielders that they had was not only Barry Bonds, but that guy on Pittsburgh named Reynolds. They gave him up, and then they had Adam Duvall. They just couldn't hold him. They just had to give him away, And they said they said it's been a long time since the Giants had some good outfielders. And so I just wanted to get your opinion. But before I let you go, I just wanted to also mention I'm with you, and I told Bill Lasky the same thing. That guy named Win, to me, he just as good as the lefty, the young kid, Harrison. I mean, because he ain't afraid to challenge you. That's what it is. Because I played in the minor leagues before. And he's just not afraid. He'll come right after you, And to me, the more he pitched, the better he's going to get. That's basically all I wanted to say. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thanks, Roy. I thought Keaton Win was impressive tonight. He challenged the Dodgers' big hitters. He didn't look intimidated out there, pitching at Dodger Stadium with 49,000 on a Monday night, a week into the season. He's got the split, which is, the big-time out pitch for him. And I like his makeup. I really do. And, the Giants are in a position where they could have a lot of starting pitching, and I think, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him because he could be the odd man out once, Alex Cobb comes back. Snell's going to plug in there, and you start to look at the Giants. The next 3 are going to go Logan Webb. They're going to go Kyle Harrison in the final 2 games against the Dodgers. That makes Jordan Hicks the starter for the home opener on Friday against the Padres at Oracle Park on Friday afternoon. And then they can bring Logan Webb back Sunday in the 3rd game of the series against the Padres, the finale. So they're probably going to need Keaton Win one more time on Saturday, basically pitching on the normal rest because Snell is plugged in for Monday, a week from tonight. And then you figure out how you want to stack it up from there. You could go Webb, Snell, 1-2. You can, at that point start flip-flopping if you want to separate your lefties and not have Snell and Harrison go back-to-back. But I think as far as the rest of the week goes, Keaton Win earned himself another start. And I know that the Giants weren't sure how many batters they were going to get, how many innings, how many pitches Keaton Win had. But Keaton Win's somebody who's impressed when he's had opportunities. As far as the outfielders go, the Brian Reynolds trade is one that simply put, didn't work out. He was the McCutchen trade when the Giants went and got McCutchen in 2018, and Reynolds goes on to become an all-star. That was when the Giants were kind of trying to chase it there in the final year with Bobby Evans at the helm and that old regime at the helm there, trying to, make one more go of it with the veterans that they still had under contract. And Bruce Bochy, obviously Bochy ended up through the 2019 season before Gabe Kapler took over in the pandemic-shortened year. But yeah, Reynolds, that's one. I think, hindsight, obviously 2020, that move hurts based on what Reynolds has become. Duvall never really performed when he got opportunities, and he was a young player trying to fit in a very veteran-laden, group of guys that were not far removed from winning championships, and even a part, I think, of the 2014 team, not on the playoff roster, but I believe Duvall had some time on that team even that season. But yeah, and he's gone on to kind of bounce around and latch on and be the power threat in other area and on other teams that the Giants basically haven't had. So no, they've been able to find pitching, and I think that's been the thing. I mean, with Farhan Zaidi, I mean he's on the hot seat this year. For all the he had a great March, and they spent a bunch of money, and all of that is great. But I think he would have hoped that some of the younger position players would have been farther along, are part of this club already, and that it wouldn't have had to been so much as cashing in all the chips here, for this 2024 season. Now, Giants fans are thrilled that they were in that position. Once they got to that position, you hate having to be in that position. But to go get Jung Hoo Lee, who looks like he's a player, to spend the money on Chapman when the market came back down to the Giants' range, and Blake Snell, those circumstances wound up playing out. But the reality is the Giants have to be a good team this year, or I think there still would be a likelihood that there's going to be some changes. Almost isn't going to be good enough for this team this season. I think the analytics and the numbers had the Giants at about an 83-win team before they got Chapman and Snell. It's closer to 86 with those two, and so they're projected to be a top 6 team in the NL once they're whole, especially with that pitching staff once Blake Snell and Alex Cobb are back in there at the top of the rotation, and then you got Hicks, and then you got Harrison, and that's when I think you could have the potential with Logan Webb added there at the top to have a real special rotation. All right, 808 KNBR is the number. Let's keep it rolling on the phone lines here tonight on a Monday, and that is where we check in with Bruce in San Jose next here on the Sports Leader. Hey, Bruce.
Yeah, hey, JD. Thanks for taking my call. I kind of agree with most of what you're saying and what that caller Roy earlier said. I guess I'm frustrated specifically, with Slater and but yeah, more position players, specifically outfield players. I'm not worried about the bullpen as much as people have been talking about, but like you just mentioned, literally a few maybe a minute ago, maybe Farhan wishes the minor league system players were further along. I'm tired of seeing like Slater, and I hate to say it, Yaz. I know he's having a kid, nothing personal, but we've seen the same guys for a few years. Let's start seeing some new names, maybe. That's all.
Well, and look, I think Matos is somebody that I think they wanted to be in a position where he was farther along, but then you could also make the case that he puts on the strength and does the things that they want to do, and then he ends up. I think just based on the numbers of the roster being kind of the odd man out. They want him to play every day, so he gets he gets called up for a couple of games with Yaz going down, but then they don't really have a spot for him, so he gets sent back down. Slater's somebody that throughout his career has crushed lefties. So I think he gets an opportunity, at the beginning of the year as a veteran and somebody that the Giants brought back. Like they're hoping he can crush lefties again. And Jung Hoo Lee's going to be out there every day. Conforto becoming more of an everyday player. I think, it has the potential to help, but there's no doubt. Yeah. Slater hasn't looked great to this point. Yaz in the opener, didn't look great, up at the plate. And so, I think you're going to give the guys that you have believed in and paid the money to keep around for another year. You're going to give them the first opportunity to see what they can do. And then you're going to have to make some changes at that point if things don't work out. And so, I'm keeping an eye on Matos. I'm keeping an eye, as things shake out down in AAA, because I think he's probably the first guy that's going to be called back up. But I think when he gets called back up, the Giants want to be able to play him and play him, with some regularity, and be able to give him some run to basically be able to, play at a high level, and where you could get a little bit of a sample size as to whether or not he can contribute at the big league level. All right, 808 KNBR. As we continue to roll on here, it is John Dickinson on a Monday night. Giants lose tonight, 8-3 the final to the Dodgers. As Keaton Win, I thought, pitched pretty well. Giants missed some opportunities. First, third, and fifth innings, they leave 8 on base. Some 2-out runners in scoring position opportunities for Wilmer Flores. He left 2 on in the first, 2 on in the third. Bases loaded in the fifth, and then what could have been in the seventh when Soler gets caught off a second base after the Giants had scored a run. Lamont Wade making it 6-2. But the name of the game tonight, Teoscar Hernandez, the death blow to the Giants with the 3-run homer in the bottom of the sixth off of Tyler Rogers. And, the bullpen, problematic to this point early on in the season. They're counting on Duvall being dominant. They're counting on Taylor and Tyler Rogers to be outstanding, and then they're going to have to figure out the rest of it. Ryan Walker, somebody that I think they're still pretty high on now that he's not going to be needed to be an opener. He's somebody that can be in the middle of that bullpen, and Luke Jackson was somebody that I think they thought could be that next righty, and he's pitching opening day in the seventh inning with the Giants having the lead in a game. And so, that tells you all you need to know about what they, thought of him. I mean, they were trying to set it up. Jackson 7, Rogers 8 of all 9. And then now he goes down and didn't have it in the opener. And so, there's a lot of young guys trying to come through and make opportunities for themselves. All right, let's go to Zach in Concord next here. We'll clean up Zach before the top of the hour. We do have a couple of lines open if you want to join the conversation here tonight on The Sports Leader. Hey, Zach.
Hey, JD. How's it going, man?
I'm doing well tonight. I'm doing well. Tough night for the Giants. Tough couple of days for the Giants. But yep. I still am pretty optimistic about this team over the long haul, especially once they get their starting pitching in order. I think that's going to allow for this team to pick off a lot of wins against a lot of teams. So I'm still pretty optimistic, but the last 2 days have been kind of rough.
Yeah, totally. No, I agree. I just wanted to touch on the new free agent signing. So I'm going to start out with the good. So the good to me is Matt Chapman and Jung Hoo Lee. They are complete game changers. It's like you see Matt Chapman at third. That defense is crazy. And Jung Hoo Lee's doing well. He's a hit machine. But then I want to look at the bat. Okay, we got Blake Snell we haven't seen yet, and kind of confused as to why we haven't seen him yet, because he's a pro. I'm pretty sure he could roll out for 3 or 4 innings and could have pitched in the guy's place yesterday. And Soler, we ain't seen much from Soler. So, I just don't know what's going to happen with Soler, but I'm excited to see Snell soon.
Yeah, Soler, I think, has missed some fastballs. It looks like he's been a little bit late on the fastball. Snell, you want to make sure Snell's right. I do think, and I kind of put this out on social media yesterday, the Giants really got bit yesterday by the fact that they signed Snell so late. And it's, nobody's fault necessarily, but, you sign him late, then that means he's going to need a couple of weeks to get ramped up and ready to pitch in actual games and get stretched out. And it's not that he hasn't been keeping himself ready, but there's a difference between keeping yourself ready and throwing and, coming into a major league camp on a major league team and starting to really heat it up. And so, yeah, I think there was always going to be, I thought it was a little overly optimistic to think that he was going to be able to pitch in this series, against the Dodgers on Wednesday. I know they were kind of keeping that Wednesday night, the third game of the series, open as a potential option. But, yeah, he ends up with the simulated game on that night, and then he's going to be good to go. But, yeah, the Giants, when they don't have Cobb already to begin with, and, they got bit. They had to throw a guy who's not a major league caliber pitcher in Dalton Jeffries yesterday, and then he didn't get any help from Tyler Fitzgerald on that error at the beginning of the game, and then he got thumped around by the Padres pretty good. And so, fortunately with the off days and the way things shake out, they won't need Dalton Jeffries to pitch again here as long as everything stays on track. They can get through Webb and Harrison and Hicks the next couple, and then they can move forward beyond that with Logan Webb again, and then put Blake Snell into that rotation. So a couple of lines open. 808 KNBR is the number, 415-808-5627. We're going to be with you until midnight tonight as the Giants lose down at Dodger Stadium. 8-3 the final. Just kind of taking the temperature of Giants fans after the first 5 games of the season. They sit at 2-3. The last 2 have not been pretty for a number of different reasons. But, what do you think of the new guys? What do you think of the bullpen to this point? Just trying to make some sense of the first 5 games with a couple of more down in L.A. before the home opener on Friday. All right, we'll come back. 415-808-5627. It is KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
This is Giants baseball. Nothing like it.
There's a long drive to right. It's headed for the bay.
On KNBR and KNBR FM, San Francisco, a Cumulus media station. Sound off on the sports leader. Sports phone KNBR keeps rolling. Live from the KNBR Casino Matrix studio. Casino Matrix progressive jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
There's a swing. There's a high drive deep down the right field line. This one has a chance. Into the corner. Goodbye! A home run from Michael Conforto for the Giants' first run of the night.
Yeah, Michael Conforto's been one of the bright spots. John Miller on the call here on KNBR. Giants lose, though, to the Dodgers. 8-3 is the final, as the Giants have dropped the last two, now 2-3 on the season. Final two games against L.A. tomorrow and Wednesday, and then the home opener coming up on Friday. Padres and Nationals in at Oracle Park for the first homestand of the season for the Giants. And Blake Snell got the news before the game that he's going to make his Giants debut a week from tonight at Oracle Park against the Washington Nationals. So that will be a welcome sight to see Blake Snell, who's set to pitch a simulated game down in Southern California on Wednesday to continue to tune up for the debut, which is going to be coming up here on the 8th. All right, 808 KNBR, let's get back to the phones. We will hear from Bob Melvin. We're going to hear from Michael Conforto as well, as Conforto third home run of the year here in the first 5 games. And we'll get to Steve G. in San Francisco. What's going on, Steve?
Hey, thank you for taking my call. I just think that they should have sat Wilmer Flores. He's in a situation where he could have brought in a few RBIs, but that injury, and I understand the faith that the coach wants to have in a player, but I think if he would have sat out, it could have been a different outcome in the game. And I know he wants to play and everything, and you have to have trust in him, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, Wilmer wanted to be out there, obviously, one. I think the reason they leaned toward playing him tonight was the fact that he had good numbers career against James Paxton. He was 5 of 6 against Paxton coming in, and I think they wanted a little bit of that ownage, even with the bruised right shoulder, as an opportunity to maybe do some damage. So only Wilmer knows how much he was compromised. Obviously, he was compromised enough to not be in the original starting lineup before he had gotten cleared. But I think in a perfect world, Steve, you'd have been having Flores up with a couple of guys on multiple times against James Paxton, and that would have been something that would have been would have been a big time positive in other opportunities. But tonight, for whatever reason, didn't work out. It ended up being a really rough night for Flores overall. Had the bad throw and the double play ball before the Dodgers had the 3-run homer in the 6th. But I think they wanted to try to get him in there. He's a guy that hits lefties well. It hit Paxton well, and it just didn't work out.
It took more of a toll subconsciously that everybody wanted to play it off. But anyway, that's my thoughts for tonight. Yeah,
thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Steve G in the city checking in. No, it looked bad. I mean, you watch baseball over the weekend, and I mean, Bryce Harper had a similar play that he was able to bounce back from, and basically stay in the game. And it looked like Flores was going to be able to stay in the game yesterday. And then he goes up to hit, and he's got a little cut on his hand, and the shoulder, I think, is the bigger issue. And so we'll see. I mean, they gave him the opportunity because of the good career numbers that he's had against Paxton, but now we'll see what happens, moving forward. I haven't seen who the Dodgers are starting. I think it's going to be a bullpen game tomorrow for the Dodgers, but if they end up, going with a righty, although, anytime you do a bullpen game, you're going to be, flipping it back and forth, right? Maybe you start a righty and then you're going to bring in a lefty and you try to negate some of the platoons and all of that. But with Yaz back, that would mean that he probably goes back into the outfield as long as the Giants are facing a righty. They're going to get Glass now on Wednesday, and then that would put Lamont Wade Jr. back at first base when the Giants are playing righty. So it gives him an opportunity to maybe give Wilmer a normal type of a break to where he's going to be used as sort of the first sub. Somebody that always is out there against lefties but is the first sub. And they've got the flexibility to move Wade around if they need to. If somebody ends up going out, they can just plug Wilmer Flores in, whether it's at first base, and like you said, Wade goes to the outfield, or if Wilmer, if something was up with Soler, he could just plug in and be the DH. So I think they like that flexibility, but you definitely want to have Wilmer Flores out there against left-handed pitching, and especially left-handed pitching that he's had some success against, which he had, but it didn't work out tonight for the Giants. Safe at third next as we go back to the phones here. A couple of lines open. 808 KNBR, the number. It's John Dickinson here on Sports Phone KNBR, post-Giants game edition here on a Monday. What's going on, Safe at third?
Hey, I'm doing real well. Thank you for letting me speak on the sports leader. I tell you, everybody just let's calm down, and this is a new team. This is not the same team last year or the year before. It's a new team, and it's going to take a minute to put together. It's not like the Dodgers, who can plug in people with they already had a good team, so they can plug in some better people. I think we're going to be okay. I like to see Estrada not at batting eighth. I think he's a better hitter than that. I think you got to plug him in like, number 2. Slater, you can drop him to maybe taking Estrada's place in eighth. And I know the pitching is going to take a while. I'm really going to settle down and wait for that to happen. I think Bomel has plans that's going to put us, closer to the top, if not the top. I have a lot of trust in what's going to happen. I think June 1st we'll see what this team is all about. I like what I'm seeing so far. I know we're losing. I know it didn't look good tonight, but I just like the way the guys are putting some stick to the ball and, trying to make things happen. I think we'll be okay. I want Estrada to go up further in the lineup. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I mean, the hitter that Estrada has been, during his Giants career, he's been better than an 8 hitter. That's for sure. Now, I think, they went out and got some guys that they, intended to knock him down in the lineup, and not necessarily because they don't think he can't hit, but because they think that their lineup is just going to be that deep. But you look at it, through the first 5 games of the season, and Soler has not been, he hasn't been the guy that they brought him over to be at this particular point. Chapman's somebody that they want to, have up in the lineup. Jung Hoo Lee's going to be the leadoff hitter, and he's been productive to this point. I do think it's interesting, the whole Soler hitting second thing, which is how they came out of the gate. Soler, I think, he's somebody that could hit. I think when he's been at his best, he's been, more of a 5-6 hitter, throughout the course of his career. But, I think what they're trying to, use him as a power threat, and try to get him, up in the order with Jung Hoo Lee, getting on base. But yeah, I think the Giants are going to have they're going to have some flexibility, I think, as far as their lineup goes, and the ability to move the pieces around. And Estrada has shown that he has the ability to hit higher in the order. I think Conforto's somebody that has the ability to hit higher in the order. And so I think there is some flexibility to move it around. I do think they're going to want Wade hitting 2-3 because of the on base, as somebody that's been a leadoff hitter in prior iterations of this team. But, yeah, I could see Estrada moving up. I could see Conforto moving up when he's hot. And that's the one thing that, you got to have faith in Bob Melvin to pull the right strings and get, guys in the right position and know when to play the hot hand and know how to manage getting a guy in against the right matchup. And so it's early. I know there were a lot of people that saw the lineup the first couple of days and thought, well, that's not exactly how I would have done it. But, let's see how it shakes out. But, I think to your point, it is a scenario where Estrada does have the ability to be able to hit better, up in the lineup if need be. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break here. 808 KNBR is the number if you want to weigh in on tonight's game as the Giants lose to the Dodgers 8-3, or the first 5 games. How you feeling about this team to this point? What do you like? What do you don't like? Kind of the question du jour here for the 11 o'clock hour. Just give me the one thing that you're the most confident about 5 games in, and then the one thing that you're most panic-stricken about. No, I'm kidding. That's a little extreme. But, it's early. Everybody puts a lot on these first, week to 10 days of the season. I like what Safe at Third said. This really is a new team with a new manager, a new energy, and some new expectations, I think, that go with that as well. But, no, I think this team is going to be pretty good when it's all said and done over a 162-game grind, and they're going to be able to take advantage of teams over the long haul. I think better than we've seen the last 2 versions of the Giants. Like, I think this is the most talented team they've had in 8 years. I mean, seriously. I think this is the most talented team the Giants have had in probably since 2016. I know you're saying, oh, they won 107 games in 2021. Like, yeah, they did, and they deserve credit. I don't know that team was overly talented, top to bottom. But, we could have a conversation about that. I know, that team did win a lot of games, basically 2 of every 3 for the entire season, which is really rare and a franchise record as well. So we'll pause here. We'll come back. 808 KNBR, the number, 415-808-5627. It's John Dickinson here, Sports Phone KNBR, post-Giants edition on the Sports Leader.
White boy.
Sound white, boy. It sound right, boy.
Want your reaction, so give us a ring or blow up the text line at 415-808-KNBR. This is Sports Phone KNBR, streaming live at twitch.tv/The Sports Leader.
1-2, ground ball right side. Lux dives and can't get it. It's into right field. Wade was held up. He's going to now break for the plate and score. Soler came around second, and I think Soler saw Wade stop, even though that just got screwed up, and Soler then was hung away from the bag. The throw came to Mookie Betts. He runs over and tags out Soler. Man, that hurts. And out on the bases when you're down big. The run scores at 6-2. But Soler got caught maybe peeking at Wade and had to slam on the brakes, and then it was over.
All bad. Dave Fleming on the call here. KNBR, the sports leader. Giants lose 8-3 to the Dodgers. Down 6-1 right there. And, yeah, that's pretty tough. Flores with the base hit, the RBI. It looked like, Wade did stop. And Soler was intent on going to third, then thought, I got to stop. And then he ends up between second and third, and he is just dead to rights. And that ends the inning on the bases with the Giants having an opportunity, to get Tom Murphy up or to get maybe a pinch hitter up at that point. They'd already used Wade. Maybe Yaz comes off the bench and hits for Murphy there against Joe Kelly. And the Giants would have had a couple of guys on. And, not tying run at the plate, but a step away from tying run at the plate, even though they had just given up the 3-run homer in the bottom of the sixth inning to fall down 6-1. And so, Soler, kind of an uneven beginning to the season for him, although he did get a hit tonight to put himself on base in that position. But that was ugly. That was ugly, and that was, bad baseball, basically. And, the Giants through this 2-3 stretch, you look at some areas where the defense has been excellent in some areas, and it's cost them in a couple of areas as well. You look at, base running for the most part, I think has been pretty good. The hitting, I think the at-bats have been pretty good. Runners in scoring position, hit or miss. They've hit for a little bit of power. They're hitting the ball hard. That's the one thing that is for sure. They're hitting the ball hard. So I think that's obviously a good sign that plays over the long haul. But then they're not driving runs in necessarily with some opportunities like they couldn't tonight. And it all adds up to an 8-3 loss and a 2-3 start. First turn through the rotation. But again, the rotation that we've seen here through the first 5 games is not what the rotation for the Giants could be. And I think that's a reason for some big-time optimism moving forward. Let's get back to the phones. Jovam in Santa Cruz, you're on the Sports Leader.
Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Good. Good to have you on the show post-Giants game.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Going to be doing a bunch of these once the Warriors are done. I'm going to be doing more and more of them. But it's nice to get the first one under my belt here tonight with the Giants and Dodgers going at it.
You're doing a great job, like you always do. Let's go Giants. Let's go Warriors. I wanted to talk about. Obviously it's a loss, but Keaton Win tonight to me was spectacular, phenomenal. I mean, what was it? 83 pitches, 62 strikes, around there. I might be a little bit wrong, but that's a lot of strikes.
It was. He was really good. I thought he was impressive. I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but yeah, I mean, Keaton Win in the ball game tonight. I'm looking at the final numbers here. Yeah, 89 pitches. I don't think the Giants would have thought that they would have got 89 pitches out of Keaton Win in this game tonight, but he pitched well enough to do it over 5 innings, 60 strikes. So he was pounding the zone. He had a over 67% strike percentage at 60 of 89 pitches and 6 strikeouts. Gives up the 3 runs, but there wasn't a lot of heavy contact. The top of the order got to him a little bit, but he limited damage. And, yeah, I thought it was a really, really, really strong outing for Keaton Win. And, he just continues to impress when he's getting opportunities. And, the Giants, when Blake Snell comes back, the rotation's going to start to stretch out a little bit. You're going to have Webb and you're going to have Snell, and Alex Cobb's not too far behind Snell as far as when he's going to be able to pitch in a major league game. It sounds like that's coming here within the next couple of weeks, as in we're at April 1st, like April. And so Alex Cobb is your 3. And then you look at Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks as your 4 or 5. I mean, Keaton Win becomes somebody that could be, I think, maybe even a valuable piece of the Giants' bullpen. In addition to a swing, type starter. And I think the Giants are going to be looking for adds to their bullpen because the bullpen is not complete at the beginning of the season. And sometimes bullpens that are really good tend to not look great at the beginning of a season. And, guys need to get stretched out. They need to get comfortable in their roles. Bullpens tend to play better once they are a little bit more organized. But, Keaton Win is a nice talent to have, whether you want him to be a starter or whether you want him to be somebody that you end up, maybe throwing in your bullpen to help on a, relatively regular basis. So, no, I thought Keaton Win was one of the positives tonight. No question about it. When you look at, what went well, what didn't go well for the Giants in this one, even in an 8-3 loss. So, yeah, I mean, and he's going to get a chance, I think, to make another start. You look at the way things shake out, he's going to get another opportunity. And, I think you're going to want to keep him around no matter what, but they're going to have one more turn here through the rotation before Blake Snell's going to be needed and added into the rotation a week from tonight. And so, they're going to need another starter probably Saturday, and that'll be the 5th day for Keaton Win against the Padres before Logan Webb comes back and pitches Sunday, and then Blake Snell gets added into the mix on Monday. And then it's go time. And we'll see where Alex Cobb is at that point. Win may get another start before Alex Cobb comes back, or a couple of starts potentially before Alex Cobb comes back. But no, I for him to pitch the way that he did against that lineup, especially when you come out and Mookie Betts whacks you for a triple right off the bat. I mean, just to hold your mud, to hold your poise, to be calm. Like I think it was impressive. Even in a losing effort, to just, Betts triple lead off the game. You're in Dodger Stadium, 49,000 out there, and you hold your mud against Ohtani, get him to ground out. All right, you give up the run. Then you strike out Freddie Freeman. You give up a base hit to Will Smith, but then you strike out Muncy. Boom, out of the inning. Then you come right back and you settle in. 10-pitch second inning, couple of strikeouts, looking good. Third inning, you strike out Gavin Lux. Then you walk Betts. Ohtani gets you with the double, which is basically a ground ball down the right field line, just past Wilmer Flores. Second and third at that point, give up a base knock to Freddie Freeman, but then again, you hold your mud to get Will Smith to fly out. It turns into a sacrifice fly. Max Muncy, you get to fly out inning over, and then you go 6 straight to close it out over the 4th and the 5th inning. So you settle in again, and you retire your final 8, basically, after it's a 3-0 game in that 3rd inning with 1 out, and you get to 89 pitches, and you pound the zone, and you get Betts and Ohtani the 3rd time through in that 5th inning to close your day. I thought it was a real productive, real positive outing in this one from Keaton Win. And, I kind of put him as a question mark, and I think that's one of the bright spots. And we'll get into that coming up. 808 KNBR, by the way, is the number. Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. It is John Dickinson here on Sports Phone KNBR, post-game edition. Giants lose to the Dodgers. What do you like about this team through the first 5 games? What concerns you through the first 5 games? But, I had some questions about the rotation as it is currently constituted, and I think a lot of those questions were quelled, and we'll get into that coming up here as well in the next segment. All right, we'll hear from Bob Melvin. We'll hear from others in the Giants clubhouse from down in Los Angeles. But let's go ahead and take another quick break here. It is KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Up Nation. Dial the digits and dive in. 415-808-KNBR. Sports Phone KNBR continues right here and on the all-new KNBR app.
There's a swing and a hard ground ball up the middle. Into center field, base hit. Second hit of the game for Jung Hoo Lee. Stopping at second is Ahmed. So he ripped that one. It was a ball up, and I mean that was up around his chest, and he still got on top of it. Hit a low liner that actually hit the mound and then skipped on through.
Yeah, Jung Hoo Lee can hit, and Jung Hoo Lee can get on base. And, yeah, he's got a little thump, hits the ball hard. Looking like a guy that Giants fans are going to quickly fall in love with, I think. And then the personality to boot, likable guy. Teammates really taking to him, as you saw with the beer shower. If you haven't seen it, check it out at KNBR on Twitter and Instagram. Jung Hoo Lee in the clubhouse, getting the beer shower in the basically in the laundry basket, right? It was laundry basket, Jung Hoo Lee laid out, everybody celebrating him with the beer shower for the first major league home run after the ball game on Saturday in San Diego. And so, yeah, simpler times for the Giants a couple of days ago. Things were looking pretty good at 2-1. Not so much after the 8-3 loss tonight down at Dodger Stadium and the drubbing at the hands of the Padres in the finale of that 4-game set yesterday at Petco Park. But Logan Webb back for turn number 2 tomorrow. It's going to be a bullpen game for the Dodgers and an opportunity for the Giants to get right back on track and show the Dodgers that they are going to be formidable regardless of how much money was spent this offseason and how much superstar talent that the Dodgers have been able to add to the mix. This Giants team, again, I think over the long haul, is going to have the ability to win games, and they're going to be in the race. Like I'm pretty confident of that. Barring any kind of injuries, I think their starting pitching staff is going to keep them in games. They hit the ball hard, which I think is good. They're less platoon reliant, although I do still think they're going to have some platoons that are naturally going to form over the course of the season. And so I've color me impressed with the starting rotation to this point. Logan Webb is Logan Webb, and Blake Snell's going to be Blake Snell. You don't worry about those two. I have always been kind of an Alex Cobb guy, assuming he's healthy. I think he's going to be a really formidable number 3. I mean, that is a luxury to have a dude who was an all-star be your number 3. Like, that is fantastic. And the reason that he's the number 3 is because the top 2 guys won the Cy Young and came in second in the Cy Young voting. Like, that is a really nice problem to have. But I'll be honest, I wasn't as sold on Kyle Harrison coming out of the gate as others were. And the spring that he had and this and that. Like, I was more of I need to see Kyle Harrison do it in the majors at the beginning of the season. And, first, I was a little skeptical of Jordan Hicks, as well as Jordan Hicks pitched in spring training. It's like, all right, yeah, all right, that's nice. I read the reports. I watched some of the highlights. I heard all the glowing remarks about Hicks and Harrison, but I was a little bit skeptical. But, first turn through, they were both impressive. And that, I think, bodes extremely well for the Giants because you're talking about Harrison and Hicks and Harrison, however you want to stack them up, being the 4 and the 5 in the Giants rotation. And Keaton Win is somebody who projects to be the 6. He's not even going to be necessarily a regular member of the rotation, and he pitched well tonight against the Dodgers. So no weak links, really, for San Francisco the first turn through. Dalton Jeffries be damned. Unfortunately, again, that a byproduct of Blake Snell being signed later and unavailable and not ready. To be a member of the rotation, and Keaton Win was on track to where he wasn't going to be available until tonight. So the Giants were going to have one turn through where they were going to have somebody that they probably really didn't want to have to make a start. And that wound up being Dalton Jeffries. And Dalton Jeffries, unfortunately, got hammered by the San Diego Padres. Didn't get help from Tyler Fitzgerald with the error right off the bat. But, unfortunately, you got to throw that one out. And everybody else, though, I think did pitch well. And I was skeptical of Harrison and Hicks. And Harrison and Hicks looked really good the first time through. So I think that definitely bodes well as others re-enter the Giants' rotation. Just some other observations from the early going. And, again, it's 5 games. So you've got guys that have hit to this point that we might be looking up at the end of April and going, wow, he's really struggling. And there's guys that haven't hit and been disappointing to this point where you look up at the end of April and you're going to be like, wow, this guy's carrying them. And, I think there's some potential for that to be the case, both ways. But no, Jung Hoo Lee looks like a player. Solaire's going to have to come around. Matt Chapman is just a big leaguer. He is a freaking big leaguer. I love watching Matt Chapman play. I love watching him play. How many guys you just love watching play defense? Like, I love watching Matt Chapman. I hope balls get hit to Matt Chapman because I just want to watch Matt Chapman field them. And, how's he going to do? Is he going to go into a slide, make the right throw? Matt Chapman is a big leaguer. And, the Matt Chapman, J.D. Davis, debate of, well, J.D. Davis put up similar numbers to Matt Chapman, and J.D. Davis is, a quarter of the cost. And put, no disrespect to J.D. Davis, but you want Matt Chapman. You want, Matt Chapman is going to withstand the test of time over 162, right? J.D. Davis, you feel like, when he does something well, you kind of feel like you kind of feel like there's, something sneaky going on, right? You start feel like, oh, how's this guy doing? And look, he was a high pick too. He was a big time prospect at one point himself. But, and again, no disrespect to J.D. Davis, who had, Northern California guy, some big moments with the Giants and all that. Things didn't work out. Giants maybe did him a little dirty. That's all fair. Glad he, ended up with the A's, and he's been a productive hitter for the A's. I think he's been the A's most productive hitter actually through the first 5 games. But give me Matt Chapman. That's Matt Chapman is a freaking big leaguer in every turn. I put that out there on social media, and I think I had an A's fan that was like, so what, you never paid attention to Matt Chapman when he's with the A's? No, that's not an indictment of Matt Chapman or wow, I'm just realizing how good Matt Chapman is. It was not a statement to that. I watched Matt Chapman play with the A's a lot. The issue was that the Giants haven't been able to get their hands on guys like Matt Chapman. They've been, those dudes haven't been willing to sign. And so the Giants have always kind of been left to fake it till they make it with the J.D. Davises, right? The guys who were top picks that kind of flamed out somewhere else, that another team was kind of done with, the Mets were, and so you just take a flyer on them and, try to get a bounce back, secondary career. And, those are the guys the Giants have brought in. They haven't brought in a lot of Matt Chapmans. They certainly haven't drafted a lot of Matt Chapmans. And so I don't know. There's just a professionalism. There's just a take the, you're out there every day. And look, he's not a perfect player. He's not a perfect hitter. But he's somebody that, again, holds up, I feel like, over the long haul as a big leaguer. And the Giants just haven't had enough bona fide big leaguers on their roster during the Farhan Zaidi era. Like, there is a difference between a Matt Chapman and a J.D. Davis. I don't care what the numbers say or how similar they are. Like, it's not about numbers. And I think that's where sometimes, some of these general managers miss the boat a little bit, is because they're just looking at the numbers and they think production is production. And, I just don't think that's the case. You want, look at, the Giants have had Lamont Wades. And again, I'm not saying Lamont Wade's not a big leaguer. He's a big leaguer, but he's not a big leaguer like Matt Chapman's a big leaguer, right? A guy like Blake Snell is a big leaguer. This guy is a pro's pro, done some stuff at a high level, big leaguer. Like, that's, the Giants have, made their, the Giants have made their hay with Mike Yastrzemski and Lamont Wade and Tyro Estrada. And, that's nice. That's nice. Like, those are all good players. But they're not, bona fide, blue chip kind of major league players. And, again, not even necessarily star players, but just that next tier of major league type talents. Conforto, I think, is one of those guys when he's been healthy throughout the course of his career. He's had a hard time staying healthy, and he was a major disappointment. But when Conforto's right, Conforto's a big leaguer. Like, you'd rather have Michael Conforto when Conforto's right than Yaz. Like, you just would. And so, again, I think that's one area where I think the Giants, I think those things play over the long haul of 162, and I think that's where the Giants have, I think that's where they're going to benefit and be a better team. I don't think they're not going to win 107 because that was a fluke in 2021, but I think this is by far going to be the best team that they've had in the last 8 years. I think going back to again, 2021 outlier. They're not going to win 107, but other than that team, if you want to count that team, and that team had a very good. I mean, they had an excellent year. They had the once in a lifetime kind of a year in the regular season, but I think this Giants team is going to be, throw that team out, the best team in the last 8 years other than that one. All right, let's pause here real quick. We'll come back one more time. 808 KNBR, we can sneak in a couple of calls here between now and the top of the hour. We will hear some post-game sound from Bomel, from Michael Conforto, from Keaton Win as the Giants lose to the Dodgers. 8-3 the final. You heard it here, KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Sound off on the sports leader. Sports phone KNBR keeps rolling. Live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Wins 2-2 pitch. Luck strikes out swinging. Splitter got him. So that's 5 strikeouts for Keaton Win, the first time through this ultra-powerful Dodgers lineup.
Yeah, one of Keaton Win's 6 strikeouts in 5 innings. He does take the loss. Giants fall to the Dodgers, 8-3. Final segment, as it is Sports Phone KNBR. John Dickinson here on a Monday night. Great to be with you here. And, going to be working my way into the fold here on some of these post-game Sports Phone shows, including next Monday. My next one is next Monday. I got a full week of Warriors coming up. Warriors tomorrow, Dubs OT. Dubs OT Thursday and Friday. I am going to be out at the Giants home opener on Friday as well, and taking in the Giants over the weekend, kind of gearing up for the next phase here of the season. Going to be doing a lot of these post-Giants shows, especially after the Warriors season is done. But, the next one for me is next Monday, which I'm super excited about because that's going to be the Blake Snell debut at Oracle Park, and I'm going to be doing that one from the bunker. So that should be pretty electric for a Monday night in April against the Nationals. Like, that was the old joke. We got Jacob Violante in studio, and Jacob, the old joke was, and I know you're younger than I am, to be sure, but the old joke was like, well, what is Monday night? Me was like, what? Monday night against the Expos, like that's the snoozer, right? Like that's the game where nobody's going to be into it. And now, obviously, the Expos for the last 20 years, I guess, have been the Nationals. But now it's Monday night against the Nationals. Like what's gonna be Blake freaking Snell, Jacob? Blake freaking Snell on next Monday against the Nationals. That should be pretty damn good. Pretty damn good at Oracle Park.
Spices things up, baby. I'm excited. Maybe I'll be there. Who knows?
Yeah, you should come out. Yeah, that's one. I don't know if you're scheduled to be in studio or whatever. It'd be like, no, come on out. I'm going to the bunker with JD. Actually, I'm going to section, I don't know. You're like a 222 guy, right? You're like a club level 222.
Hit me with the club, baby. When they serve the booze all night long, they don't stop in the 7th.
Little club level, don't shut it down into the 7th, and then sneak. I'm gonna. Well, I was gonna say sneak in with my credential, but I'm not gonna hang you out like that. But no, get my guy Jacob like some nice Blake Snell first start Giants debut ducats for next Monday night. Should be a good one. All right, let's hear a couple of cuts here before we call it a night. As the Giants lose to the Dodgers. A couple of Bowmel cuts post-game. We've talked a lot about Keaton Win. He impressed me. Here's what the skipper of the Giants had to say about the young right-hander.
The big at bat, obviously, was a Teoscar at bat. So, Keaton did a pretty good job. 5 base runners in 5 innings. Gave up a few runs, but it's a pretty tough lineup to navigate. So, I thought he pitched pretty well. But we had some guys on base, and Tyler came in. The big swing was from Teoscar, so we can be better.
Yeah, can be better. I think the bullpen's going to have to be better, and the Giants are going to have to get some hits with runners in scoring position, which they did in the 2 wins in the middle of the San Diego series. And, they did not do that tonight. It really didn't matter if they had done it or not yesterday. In San Diego, and the top of the Dodgers lineup is what bit Keaton Win in this one, and Bowmel also talked about that post game.
It is what it is, right? So they have a good team. They, top of the lineup's about as good as any in baseball. We just got to try to navigate it a little better. I mean, Betts is about as hot as you could possibly be right now.
Yeah, Mookie Betts is just scalding hot at this particular point in time. It's funny, I was looking at the Dodgers top 3 in their lineup, and I was looking, I saw this on MLB Network. I'm trying to find the screenshot of it from the last couple of days. Okay, so yeah, it's basically teams to have 3 qualified hitters. This is since 1901. Teams to have 3 qualified hitters with a 160 OPS plus or higher in a single season. So the Dodgers have that. Betts, Ohtani, Freeman in 2023 had a 163 OPS plus, 184 OPS plus, 161 OPS plus, respectively, between the 3 of them. That's happened just 2 other times since 1901. So now 124 years. And the 2 times that it's happened since 1901, the 29 Yankees with Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Tony Lazzeri, and the 1963 San Francisco Giants with Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, and Orlando Cepeda. So basically, you're talking about Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, and it is. I mean, Betts, Ohtani, Freeman are 3 all-time. I mean, those are probably 3 Hall of Famers, when it's all said and done. But, yeah, it's that level of wow. It's Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Orlando Cepeda levels, and they bit the Giants and did the Giants in. All right, let's go ahead and hear a little bit from Michael Conforto. He had the homer in the 6th inning, and he talked about his hot start to the season.
Yeah, it's a good start. There's a lot of good things. There's still some, some at bats that I feel like I, missing some pitches and could get some things going, get on base a little bit more. And but overall, I mean, it's nice to see the ball leave the ballpark, and I'm just gonna keep working, keep trying to put together great at bats, and help the team win.
Yeah, Conforto's seen it leave the ballpark now 3 times in 5 games. He's driving the ball. He's hitting the ball hard when he's made contact. And, he's somebody that is a much better player, throughout the course of his career than he was last year for the Giants, especially when he's healthy. And so I think, getting a motivated, looking to bounce back Conforto in a deeper lineup, I think bodes pretty well for the Giants. Let's hear one quickie. Actually, you know what? No, we're gonna wrap it up because we're up against the top of the hour in the midnight replay. We'll hear from Keaton Win in the next Keaton Win start, which I would project is probably going to be on Saturday. Thanks to Jacob Violante. Really appreciate it. Thanks to Cole, who was helping out in our San Francisco studios as well. I'll be back tomorrow, Dubs OT. We've got the Giants over the air and the Dodgers, and then I'll have Dubs OT with Greg Silver on the KNBR YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter stream pages. But for Jacob and for Cole, I'm JD. Midnight Replay is coming up next right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
This is the flagship of Giants baseball. Double play! KNBR and KNBR FM San Francisco, the sports leader. San Francisco Giants baseball.
Swing, and there's a shot deep to left field, way back there.
The Giants replay.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and the ball game is over.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader. The skippers have swapped lineup cards. The umps have gone over the ground rules. And Bo Mel's Giants are suited up in the orange and black. The best broadcast team in baseball is in the booth. Their mics are on.